The twins were born by a madwoman, taken to an orphanage home where children should find safety, but it was just a house to extort from the public. At just 7, Maya and Mara ran away from the orphanage to escape their fate. Join us to explore if this decision holds the hope they carry in their little minds. Please like this video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe for incredible videos. The rain fell like needles on the streets of Lagos. Cars hissed past. Shops slammed their doors shut. Thunder rolled over the rooftops. In front of a small electronics shop, 2 thin girls stood in soaked dresses, holding each other. They were twins, same small faces, same big eyes, same shaking hands. The shop owner shouted, "Go away! No begging here!" Then he pushed them with his foot. One fell to the ground with a splash. The other cried, "Please, sir, we are sorry." A black SUV stopped at the curb. A tall man stepped out with a big umbrella. His name was Hassan Abel. People called him the Quiet Lion. He was a billionaire who built smart apps and tech labs. He did not like drama, he did not like noise, but what he saw made his heart pound. He ran into the rain. "Stop," he said to the shop owner. His voice was calm but strong. The man froze, his shoe still lifted. Hassan lifted the girls up gently. "Are you hurt?" he asked. The twins tried to stand. The older one by maybe 1 minute bit her lip and nodded. The younger one rubbed her elbow and shook her head, as if she didn't want to make trouble. They were shivering so hard their teeth clicked. "Come," Hassan said, opening his umbrella wide so it covered all 3 of them. "Stand close." The shop owner looked scared now. People on the street were staring. Someone whispered, "Is that Hassan from Tech Hub?" Another said, "Yes, the one on the billboards." Hassan turned to the owner. "You will not kick children," he said. "Not today. Not ever." The man dropped his eyes. Hassan took off his jacket and wrapped it over the twins' shoulders. As he did, the rain washed dirt from their hands. That was when he saw it. A birthmark. It sat on the thin wrist of the older twin, shaped like a small crescent moon. The younger twin had the same mark too, exactly the same, curved like a silver smile. Cold ran through Hassan's body, colder than the rain. All the men in the Abel family had that mark. His father had it, his grandfather had it, his uncles had it, Hassan had it too. It was the moon of the Abels, the family joke at birthdays and weddings, a secret sign that said, "You are one of us." Hassan stared at the twins' hands. The thunder boomed again. "Who are these girls? Why do they have our moon?" His mouth went dry. "What are your names?" he asked softly. The older one lifted her chin. "Maya," she whispered. The younger one squeezed her sister's fingers. "Mara," she said. "We are 7, Hassan swallowed. "Where are your parents?" The twins looked at each other, then down at the wet ground. "We don't know," Maya said. "We only know the orphanage. We ran away last night." "Why?" Hassan asked. "Because they beat us," Mara said. "Because they said we are trouble. But we are not trouble. We just want to live." Hassan's heart turned tight. The rain beat harder on his umbrella. He felt a pull in his chest, old and strange, like a memory he could not reach. He looked again at the moon marks. No, this can't be. Or could it? His breath shook as he bent closer. "Girls," he said, "listen to me. I will take you somewhere safe. We will find dry clothes, warm food, and a doctor. After that, I will help you tell me everything. Every tiny thing you remember." The twins nodded. Mara hugged his jacket around her body. Maya held her sister's hand. Hassan led them toward the car. He opened the door, helped them in, and then stopped. His hand was on the frame. The rain pounded his back. His eyes were still on those moons. What are the chances? What are the chances that 2 twins, 7 years old, carry the Abel moon? The answer hit him like lightning. A memory woke up. It began long before this rainy morning. Back then, in Abuja, bright offices, glass walls, and the smell of hot coffee, Hassan lived like a machine that never sleeps. He ran Tech Hub, the company everyone wanted to join. He woke before dawn and worked past midnight. Numbers were easy. Plans were clear. Business made sense. Love did not. "Son," his father, Mr. Abel, would say during Sunday lunch, "I want to hold your child before I meet my maker." He would tap his own moon mark and smile. An heir. Your mother feels the same, Mrs. Abel Hannah would add, touching Hassan's arm. I want to knit little sweaters. I have patterns saved on my phone. Hassan respected them. He loved them. But his reply was always the same. I am not ready. Because when it came to love, Hassan felt like a boy standing in front of the ocean, wide, deep, and a little scary. So he stayed on the shore. He said no to dates. He said no to parties. He said yes to more meetings. Then came Jane. Jane was the daughter of a business partner. She was young, sharp, and powerful. Her heels clicked like warnings on marble floors. Her smile never reached her eyes. She liked control. She liked winning. And she liked the idea of being Mrs. Hassan. Hassan's parents introduced them at a gala. She is kind, his mother said kindly, even though she could tell Jane was not kind. Parents try, even when they see the storm. I am busy, Hassan told Jane, polite but distant. We can build an empire, Jane said, leaning close. You and I already have one, he said, and walked away. He didn't push her, but he didn't pull her closer. He kept a safe space the way he always did. Then, like a sunrise after a long night, he met Stephanie. It was an ordinary afternoon at Tech Hub. Hassan was leaving the building when the elevator doors opened and a tall young woman stepped out. She was wearing a simple black dress and holding a folder to her chest. Her skin was dark, smooth like polished wood. Her eyes were bright, not because of makeup, but because she looked awake inside, like a person who hears music when others only hear noise. For the first time in a very long time, Hassan did not look away. Good afternoon, he said. Good afternoon, she said back, shy but brave. They talked in the lobby, then in the cafe, then on the phone. Friendship came first, like a soft drum. Then it grew into something deeper, louder, stronger love like a heartbeat. Hassan told her, You make the world feel new. Stephanie laughed. No, you eat too much jollof, she teased. He took her to see cities and seas. He showed her a world of bright lights and silent libraries. She told him about her dreams, helping girls learn code, building safe spaces, making homes warm. They fit like puzzle pieces. One night, under the soft light of a hotel window, Hassan held her hands. I want to spend my life with you, he said. Are you sure? She asked. I don't want to trap you. If you are not ready, I can raise this baby by myself. Baby? His eyes widened. She nodded, tears shining. Yes. Hassan felt something gentle and fierce rise inside him at once. Of course I want this baby, he said. I want you. I want us. Please marry me. They laughed and cried and made plans. They told no one yet. They wanted a small bubble of peace, but peace has enemies. Jane found out. Her smile turned sharp like glass. She called someone named Daga. Her voice was low and cold. Make the problem disappear, she said, quietly. Days later, everything changed. It was morning. The sky was pale. Birds chirped. Hassan left for a board meeting. Stephanie waved from the gate of her small house in Lagos. Come back early, she said. I will make pepper soup. I will be fast. He promised. He was not fast enough. Two men waited in a van down the street. They watched her lock the door. They watched her check her phone. When she turned toward the market, they moved. A rag pressed over her mouth, a smell like fake flowers. Hands grabbed her arms. The world blurred. Her phone fell and cracked. A neighbor looked up, but the van door slammed, and the street went quiet again, like nothing had happened. Hours later, Hassan called. No answer. He called again. No answer. He drove to her house. The gate was open. The phone was on the ground, screen broken, still buzzing. Stephanie, he shouted. His voice echoed through empty rooms. Her scarf was on the chair. Her tea was cold. Her footprints ended at the gate. Hassan's heart dropped into a dark place he had never known before. He called his parents. He called the police. He called friends. He searched hospitals and clinics. He searched the markets and the streets. He searched like a storm. Night fell. He stood on the porch, shaking, rain clouds gathering overhead, and his phone rang at last. It was an unknown number, he answered. Hello? A man's voice, rough and amused, slid into his ear. Stop looking, the voice said. If you love your life, stop. Hassan gripped the railing. Where is she? Silence. A soft chuckle. Then the line went dead. Thunder cracked. The first drops of rain began to fall. Hassan raised his face to the sky and made a promise to the night, to the rain, to his own beating heart. I will find you, he whispered. I will never stop. And somewhere far away, behind high walls and locked doors, Stephanie woke to white lights, metal beds, and a woman in a stiff uniform saying, Name? Another voice answered for her. She is a mad woman. Put her in. The door clanged shut. The rain turned heavy. Back in Lagos years later, two twins stood under Hassan's umbrella, their small wrists shining with a moon. Hassan looked at those marks, and the world tilted. Could these be? His phone buzzed in his pocket. A message flashed from an unknown number. Do you like your new problem, Mr. Abel? The screen went black. Hassan's breath caught. He glanced at the twins, then at the street, then up into the storm. Someone was watching. Hassan's fingers tightened on the umbrella. The street felt crowded, even though the rain tried to wash everyone away. The text on his phone still burned in his mind. Do you like your new problem, Mr. Abel? Who sent that? He looked left. He looked right. A man with a cap stood under a kiosk, pretending to scroll on his phone. A woman with a red scarf watched from a bus stop. The shop owner had vanished. Hassan breathed slow. Girls, he said softly, we're leaving now. He helped Maya and Mara into the SUV and climbed in after them. His driver, Musa, glanced back. Sir, hospital first, Hassan said. Pediatrics, then home. Musa nodded and pulled into the river of traffic. Wipers whooshed. Horns beeped. The rain made Lagos look like a moving mirror. In the back seat, the twins tried to sit tall, even though their shoulders were shaking. Hassan turned up the heat and handed them 2 small towels from the glove box. Thank you, Maya whispered, wiping her face. Thank you, Mara echoed, pressing the towel to her elbow. Hassan noticed they spoke like one person in 2 small bodies. Every time one breathed in, the other breathed out. Every time one blinked, the other's eyes softened. He smiled gently. I'm Hassan, he said. You can call me Uncle Hassan for now. Okay, Uncle, Mara said. A little braver. Maya held up her wrist. You have it too, she whispered, pointing. Hassan rolled his sleeve. The crescent moon on his skin curved like theirs. Yes, he said, throat tight. I do. Maya stared at the mark. Our mama used to draw a moon on the foggy window, she said carefully, like she was walking across a thin bridge of memory. She would say, when you feel lost, look for the moon. Then she would kiss our hands. Mara frowned. But I don't remember her face, she said softly. Only the moon. Hassan swallowed. The rain outside was loud again. Do you remember her name? He asked. The twins looked at each other. Their foreheads wrinkled the same way. Mara began. Steph. Maya tried. Steph, they both said, then stopped, as if a door in their minds had almost opened, but then locked again. Hassan's heart punched once. Stephanie. The name flashed in his head like a lighthouse beam. He leaned back and closed his eyes for a second. Stay calm. Think. The message on his phone meant someone was watching, but the twins' half-name meant something else. A path. Uncle, Mara said carefully, will the shopman come and push us again? No, Hassan said. Not while I'm here. Will we go back to the orphanage? Maya asked, voice shaking. No, Hassan said again. Not if the orphanage hurts children. You are safe with me. They both let out tiny breaths they had been holding for a very long time. The car turned into St. Gabriel Children's Hospital. Bright lights, white walls, nurses in neat uniforms, warm air smelling like soap and oranges. A doctor checked their bruises and gave them hot cocoa in paper cups. Nothing broken, the doctor said, smiling at the girls. They need rest, food, and safety. Safety is my job, Hassan said quietly. The twins sat on the exam bed, swinging their small feet. Their wet dresses had been replaced with soft hospital shirts. Maya's hair stuck to her forehead in little curls. Mara yawned without meaning to. Can I ask a few questions? Hassan said, pulling a chair closer. The doctor nodded and stepped aside to give them space. Hassan kept his voice warm and slow. Tell me about the orphanage. Maya looked down at her cup. The madam shouts, she said. She says we eat too much. And she locks the sweets in a cupboard. Mara added, as if sweets were proof of evil. Sometimes she hits with a spoon, sometimes with a belt. Did they tell you how you got there? Hassan asked. The twins shook their heads. Do you remember a hospital? He tried. Or a place with white walls? The twins went quiet. The hospital's beeping machines hummed like soft bees. Then Mara pressed her palm to her own wrist, right where the moon mark was, and whispered, There was a lady with a stiff hat. She said, The mad one has delivered. Maya blinked fast. We were babies, she said like a question, even though she knew it was true. Hassan's jaw clenched. A stiff hat. Mad one. That sounded like a psychiatric home. An asylum. He stood, thanked the doctor, and walked to the hallway to make a call. His hands knew the number without looking his father's. Son? Mr. Abel's voice came warm and worried. Where are you? Your mother is making soup. She thinks soup fixes everything. I'm at St. Gabriel Children's, Hassan said. He lowered his voice. Dad, I found 2 girls. Twins. 7. They have our moon. There was silence. Then Mr. Abel's breath trembled through the line. Bring them here. Now. I will, Hassan said. But Dad, there's more. They remember a name that starts with Steph. He heard his father sit down. In the background, his mother's voice floated. Is he okay? Let me. Then the rustle of the phone changed hands. Hassan? Mrs. Abel Hannah asked. What did you say about Steph? Steph. Hassan stopped. The name was heavy and bright in his mouth. I think they might be grandchildren, Mr. Abel finished, voice fierce and soft at the same time. A nurse walked past with a tray. The hallway lights buzzed. I'm bringing them to the house, Hassan said, but I need to do this clean. Someone is watching. I got a message. What message? His father asked sharply. Hassan read it. Come straight, Mr. Abel said. I'll call security. Your mother will call prayers. Hassan hung up and turned to go back into the room. That was when he saw him. The man with the cap from the street was standing by the vending machine. He was not buying anything. He was not drinking anything. He was just standing, his eyes sliding away too late, Hassan's chest filled with hard air. He walked toward the man, steps calm, face quiet. Can I help you? Hassan asked. The man smiled with only one side of his mouth. Just waiting for a friend, he said. In pediatrics? Hassan asked mildly. Children get sick. The man said, shrugging. What is your friend's name? Hassan asked. The man spread his hands. Do I look like a talker? Hassan's eyes went flat like smooth stone. You look like a man who will leave now. The man's one-sided smile faded. He nodded as if they had shared a joke, then walked toward the exit. He didn't hurry. He didn't look back. That made it worse. Hassan returned to the twins. Ready, captains? He said, forcing a smile. Ready, they said together, a little giggle escaping at the same time. The giggle sounded like a light turning on in a dark room. They drove to the Abel house in Ikoyi. High walls, guard dogs that were more friendly than they looked. Cameras everywhere. The gate opened like a yawn and closed with a sigh. Mrs. Abel Hannah flew down the steps with a blanket in her arms. Oh, my babies, she cried, though she had never seen them before. She wrapped the twins, kissed their foreheads, and led them to the warmest room in the house, the kitchen. Mr. Abel stood straighter than usual. He shook the girls' hands like they were tiny presidents. Welcome, he said. I am Grandpa Abel. You can call me Grandpa. Grandpa. Maya tested, smiling as if the word felt like soft bread on her tongue. Grandpa, Mara repeated, and then her smile broke into a laugh. They ate soup with small spoonfuls. They put on clean pajamas from the emergency kids box that Mrs. Abel always kept, just in case blessings arrive without warning. The house smelled like ginger and rain. In the quiet after dinner, Hassan sat with his parents in the study. The twins slept on a sofa nearby, their palms turned up, moons shining faintly. The clock ticked. The storm softened. We do DNA tomorrow morning, Mr. Abel said. First thing, Mrs. Abel nodded, eyes wet. Then we find their mother, she said. If she is, she is, Hassan said. He didn't let fear finish her sentence. He wouldn't. A soft knock at the study door made everyone look up. Musa stepped in, hat in hand. "Sir," he said. There was a motorbike behind us, from the hospital to the bridge. Same rider, same distance. I shook him near Falomo, but he found us again at the roundabout. He stopped before the gate. Mr. Abel's jaw set. "Security?" he called. 2 guards appeared in the doorway like chess pieces moved into place. "Watch the street. Double the cameras. No one in or out without my eyes on it," Mr. Abel ordered. "Yes, sir." The house grew still. Even the rain seemed to hold its breath. Hassan turned back to the twins. Something about the way they slept made his heart twist. One arm draped over the other, like they were trying to be one person again. He noticed a corner of paper sticking from Mara's pocket. He slipped it out carefully. It was old and soft, a little square folded many times. He unfolded it. Inside was a tiny hospital tag. The print was faded, but he could just read it. St. Mercy Maternity. Under that, Baby A and Baby B, and half a name. Smudged but still trying to live on the paper. Steph. Hassan's fingers shook. St. Mercy Maternity. He knew the place. It was a clinic on the edge of town. Years ago, there had been whispers strange adoptions, missing files, night deliveries that were never recorded. His phone buzzed again. A new message. "You are late, Mr. Abel. St. Mercy cleans its books at midnight." He checked the time. 7 p.m. Hassan stood up, all softness gone from his face. "Dad," he said, "they are going to burn records at St. Mercy. Tonight." Mrs. Abel grabbed his arm. "Don't go alone." "I won't," Hassan said. He looked at the guards. "Get the car. Now." Maya stirred and blinked. "Uncle, where are you going?" she asked, voice sleepy. Hassan knelt, smoothing her hair. "To get the truth," he said. "Sleep. I will be back." He kissed both twins on their foreheads and stood. Musa met him at the door. 2 guards flanked them. The gate rolled open. The night smelled like wet earth and danger. They sped into the dark, tires whispering on the wet road. At 11:32 p.m., they turned onto the narrow lane by St. Mercy Maternity. The clinic looked quiet. Too quiet. One dim light in the back. A shadow moved behind a curtain like a slow fish. Hassan's phone buzzed again. A picture this time. It was the back corridor of the clinic. In the picture, a man in a cap held a metal can. Another man flicked a lighter, and standing between them, smiling like she owned the night, was a woman in a sleek coat, Jane. Hassan's breath left his body like someone had punched him. He lifted his head. In the clinic corridor, a tiny orange flame bloomed. "Go!" he shouted. The SUV lurched forward, and a motorcycle roared out of the alley, cutting across their path. The rider lifted a hand. A gun glinted in the rain. The motorcycle blocked the road like a gate that hated to be opened. Rain splattered on the rider's helmet. The gun in his hand gleamed under the streetlight. Musa's knuckles tightened on the steering wheel. "Sir, don't stop," Hassan said quietly. His voice was steady, but his heart was a tight drum. The rider revved the engine and raised the gun higher. "Sir," Musa began again. Hassan's mind snapped to the twins asleep back at the house. If this man stopped them now, the trail to their mother could vanish forever. And Jane would win. He leaned forward, voice sharp. "Musa, left." The SUV swerved hard into a narrow gutter-side lane. Tires skidded. Mud splashed up the sides. The motorcycle tried to follow, but the space was too tight. The rider swore and circled around to chase from the other end. "Straight," Hassan called. "Don't slow down." They tore through the back road, past sleeping stalls and flickering bulbs, until St. Mercy Maternity's rear fence came into view. Smoke was already curling above the building like a thin black ribbon. Hassan jumped out before the car even stopped. "With me," he barked to the 2 guards. They vaulted the gate together, landing in the wet grass. Through the back window, Hassan could see the 2 men from the photo, the one in the cap, and another with a crooked jaw, feeding papers into a metal bin. The orange flame inside licked higher, greedier. Jane stood beside them in her sleek coat, holding a folder like it was her handbag. Hassan's chest burned with rage. "Jane!" His voice hit the walls like a hammer. She turned slowly, her red lipstick untouched by the rain. "Hassan," she said, like his name was a secret she owned. "Still trying to save ghosts?" "Where is Stephanie?" he demanded. Jane smiled, tilting her head. "Oh, you mean the woman you left to rot? I'm afraid her story was written out of history years ago, like it never happened." She nodded to the man with the cap. "Finish it." Hassan moved before the man could bend to the flames. His guard tackled the one with the cap. The other guard lunged for Crooked Jaw. Papers flew like scared birds into the night air. Hassan grabbed the bin and kicked it over, stomping the burning sheets into the wet mud. Jane backed away, still clutching the folder. Hassan advanced, rain running down his face. "You stole my family," he said. "You made my children orphans while their mother was alive. Your children." Jane laughed, sharp and ugly. "You think those brats are—" Hassan's fist hit the wall beside her head, hard enough to make her flinch. "Where is she?" For the first time, her eyes flickered. "She's gone," Jane said softly. "And if you want to know where, you'll need more than anger." Hassan's guard wrestled Crooked Jaw into the mud. Musa appeared at the gate, waving. "Sir, the police are on the way." Jane's face twisted into something between a smile and a snarl. "Then I suppose this is goodbye." Before Hassan could grab her, she yanked something from her coat, a small silver canister, and slammed it on the ground. Smoke burst up in a choking white cloud. Coughing, Hassan pushed through, but by the time the air thinned, Jane was gone. The men in the bin room were on the ground, guards pinning them. One was moaning about his shoulder. The other spat mud from his mouth. Hassan grabbed the man with the cap by the collar. "Talk." The man wheezed. "The hospital, they kept her. Registered her under fake name. Said she was crazy. Sold the babies to the orphanage. Where is she now?" Hassan roared. The man coughed. "They moved her last year. Small clinic. Off Ikorodu Road. But—" He winced as the guard pressed his arm down. "They don't keep her in the patient wing. There's a basement. Records too." Hassan's blood went cold. A basement meant secrets. Secrets meant Stephanie might still be alive. Police sirens wailed in the distance. "Musa," Hassan called. "We're leaving. Now." The guards hauled the two men toward the gate for the police. Hassan scooped up the fallen folder Jane had dropped in the chaos. He opened it quickly. Inside were pages stamped with the logo of Greenway Psychiatric Home, a name Hassan hadn't heard in years. The dates matched the months after Stephanie's disappearance. Her name was missing, replaced with patient 442B. Diagnosis: paranoid psychosis. Treatment: isolated care. Remarks: unfit for external interaction. Hassan's jaw locked. They had erased her from the world. He snapped the folder shut and headed for the SUV. Musa was already in the driver's seat, engine rumbling. They sped away from St. Mercy, smoke still curling into the rain behind them. Back at the Abel house, Hassan spread the folder on his desk. Mr. and Mrs. Abel stood behind him. The twins slept upstairs, unaware of the night's chase. "This is enough to prove the hospital's involvement," Hassan said, tapping the papers. "But the real proof is with her. We find Stephanie. We bring her out. We destroy the people who did this." His father nodded grimly. "What's the plan?" "First light," Hassan said. "We hit Greenway Psychiatric Home. If they've hidden her in a basement, we'll find the entrance." Mrs. Abel touched the photo paper-clipped to one page, a blurry image from a CCTV feed. A tall woman, hair messy, eyes downcast, being led by two nurses. Even in the poor image, Hassan knew it was her. He closed the folder gently, as if it were a living thing. "Hold on, Stephanie," he murmured. "I'm coming." Outside, on the empty street beyond the gates, a motorbike purred quietly in the dark. The rider spoke into a phone. "They're coming for her," he said. "Tell Jane she has one night left." The morning came with a pale, heavy sky, as if the clouds themselves knew what Hassan was about to do. By 5:30 a.m., the Abel house was already awake. The twins still slept upstairs, tucked under Mrs. Abel's watchful eye. Hassan stood in the driveway with Musa and 4 of his most trusted security men. His father joined them, leaning on a walking stick, but with a fire in his eyes. "This is not a rescue for the faint-hearted," Mr. Abel said. These people have covered their tracks for years. If they kept Stephanie this long, they'll have guards and a story ready for the police. You need to get her out before the story starts. Hassan nodded. We're going in clean and quiet. The moment we have her, we leave. Musa adjusted the strap of a duffel bag. Sir, I've brought the portable scanner. If they hide her file in the basement, we'll get it before they burn it. Hassan took a deep breath. Let's move. Greenway Psychiatric Home sat on the edge of Ikorodu Road, painted in soft pastels, the kind that pretended to mean peace. From the outside, it looked like any private clinic, orderly garden, wide veranda, nurses in crisp white uniforms. But Hassan could feel the rot beneath the paint. 2 guards stood at the gate. Hassan's men approached them first, speaking in calm tones, while Hassan and Musa walked straight through the entrance. A nurse at the reception desk looked up, startled. Sir, do you have an appointment? Yes, Hassan said smoothly, flashing a folder with government stamps fake, but convincing. I'm here to review records of patient 442B. This order allows me to conduct a surprise welfare check. The nurse's eyes flickered nervously. We don't have a patient by that number. Hassan leaned forward just enough to let her see the seriousness in his eyes. Try again. The nurse swallowed hard, picked up the phone, and muttered something into it. Her hand was trembling. From the corner of his vision, Hassan saw a door at the far end of the hall. A man in an orderly's uniform stepped out, glanced their way, and quickly turned the other direction. Hassan nodded to Musa. Follow him. They trailed the man down a side corridor lined with locked doors. The smell of bleach grew stronger. Finally, the man stopped at a plain wall and pressed his hand against a section of it. A click sounded. A hidden panel swung open, revealing a narrow stairwell. The man froze when he saw Hassan and Musa behind him. Where is she? Hassan demanded. I don't know what. Musa's hand shot out, grabbing the front of his uniform. Talk. The orderly's eyes darted between them, then to the open stairwell. Basement, room 7. But there's always a nurse with her. Hassan shoved him aside and took the stairs 2 at a time. The air grew damp and cold as they descended, the hum of machinery mixing with the faintest sound of a woman singing or humming a broken tune. At the bottom, a dim hallway stretched ahead. Steel doors lined both sides. Some had tiny windows. Most were sealed. Room 7 was at the far end. A single bulb flickered above it. Through the window in the door, Hassan saw her. Stephanie. Her hair was longer now, tangled at the ends. She sat on a metal bed, humming to herself, eyes fixed on her lap. She wore a hospital gown 2 sizes too big. The sleeves rolled. Even in the bad light, Hassan could see the familiar curve of her jaw, the same one he had touched years ago. For a moment, he couldn't move. All the years of searching, all the nights of wondering, stood in that narrow space between them. A nurse sat in the corner of the room, knitting. Hassan pounded the door. Stephanie. Her head jerked up, her eyes widened. At first, there was confusion, then disbelief, then something like fear. Hassan? Her voice cracked like glass. Yes, he said, pressing his hand to the small window. It's me. I found you. The nurse shot to her feet, dropping her knitting. You can't be here, she barked, moving toward the door. Hassan's guard stepped forward with the bolt cutters, snapping the lock in seconds. The door swung open. The nurse lunged toward the wall, her hand reaching for a red alarm button. Musa caught her wrist mid-air. Don't. Hassan stepped inside. Stephanie stood, but her legs wobbled, as if she hadn't walked far in years. He caught her before she could fall. I'm taking you home, he whispered. Her fingers gripped his shirt like it was the only thing keeping her alive. The twins, she breathed. They took the twins. They're safe, Hassan said, his voice breaking. They're home. They're ours. She made a sound, half sob, half laugh, and buried her face in his shoulder, but there was no time to stay in that moment. Down the hall, heavy footsteps pounded toward them. Voices shouted orders. Musa stuffed the nurse's ID card into his pocket and yanked a small file cabinet drawer open. Inside were rows of hidden patient files. He scanned until he found hers, patient 442B, and slid it into his bag. The first 2 orderlies appeared at the end of the hallway, carrying batons. Behind them, a man in a white coat strode forward. "You can't take her," he barked. "She's not fit for. She's not your prisoner anymore." Hassan shot back. The man's lips curled. "Do you have any idea how much it costs to keep her quiet?" That was all Hassan needed to hear. "Go," he told Musa. They moved fast, Stephanie between them. The guards flanked them, pushing past the orderlies. The stairwell felt narrower going up, the air thicker. Hassan could hear more footsteps above someone trying to cut them off. When they burst into the reception area, 3 security men were waiting, blocking the main door. Then a deep, familiar voice cut through the air. "Move aside, or you'll have more trouble than you've ever known." It was Mr. Abel, standing in the doorway with 2 uniformed policemen at his side. His cane tapped once on the floor. Now, the guards hesitated, then stepped back. In minutes, Stephanie was in the SUV, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes still darting like a bird unsure it was free. Hassan sat beside her, his arm around her shoulders. As they drove away, she whispered, "They'll come for me again." Hassan shook his head. "No. This time I'm ready for them." Behind them, at the gates of Greenway Psychiatric Home, Jane's sleek car rolled to a stop. She stepped out slowly, watching the SUV disappear into the road. Her phone rang. She answered without looking. They got her. The voice on the other end said. Jane smiled coldly. "Good. Now they'll bring the rest of the pieces to me without even knowing it." The SUV pulled into the Abel compound just after noon. The air was thick with the smell of fresh rain and damp earth. Inside the car, Stephanie sat pressed against the window, staring at the driveway like she was trying to wake up from a long nightmare. On the veranda, Mrs. Abel waited with the twins. When Maya and Mara saw the blanket-covered figure step out, they froze. Stephanie's bare feet touched the tiled floor. Her eyes locked on the twins. The world seemed to stop. "Maya? Mara?" Her voice trembled like she was afraid the names would break. The twins looked at each other, then ran forward, colliding into her with the force of years of longing. She dropped to her knees, arms wrapping around them both, tears spilling freely. "I knew I'd find you," Stephanie sobbed. "I knew." Mara clung tighter. "We dreamed about you," she whispered. Maya nodded. "And now, you're here." Hassan stood a few steps back, letting the moment wash over him, but his mind was already turning. Greenway's basement, Jane's escape, the man with the cap, none of it was finished. That night, the family sat in the study. The twins had been put to bed, their hands still clutching Stephanie's fingers until they drifted off. Hassan laid the stolen Greenway file on the table. "This proves everything," he said. Jane arranged for Stephanie to be registered as a psychiatric patient under a fake diagnosis. Greenway kept her in isolation and erased her identity. The orphanage took the twins under false adoption papers. St. Mercy helped hide the birth records. Mr. Abel's jaw tightened. A web of accomplices. "But," Musa said, "there's one thing I don't get. Why didn't they just end it? Why keep her alive all these years?" Hassan tapped a page in the file. "Because they didn't just want her gone, they wanted leverage. Look here." On the last sheet was a signed note. Patient 442B remains property of donor until debt repaid. The signature was blurred, but the initial J was clear enough. Mrs. Abel's hand flew to her mouth. "Jane." "Exactly," Hassan said. "She kept Stephanie hidden so she could use her as a pawn. But now that we have her, Jane will try something bigger. She won't run, she'll come for us." The warning came sooner than expected. Around midnight, the compound's security cameras picked up movement at the far wall. 2 figures in black scaled it silently. A third stayed outside, speaking into a phone. The guards moved in, but by the time they reached the corner, the intruders were gone. On the wall, taped in plain sight, was an envelope. Hassan opened it in the study. Inside was a single photograph, recent, high resolution. It showed Stephanie sitting with the twins in the kitchen that very evening. Across the bottom, in red ink, "Enjoy them while you can." Stephanie's face drained of color. "She's watching us." Hassan's mind raced. If Jane had people inside Lagos watching the family, she could move in on the twins any time. They needed a trap, one that would end this. By morning, the plan was set. Hassan would stage a meeting at one of his tech hub warehouses on the mainland. Public enough to look casual, private enough to control. The twins would not be there, Mrs. Abel would keep them under armed watch in the house's safest wing. But Stephanie, she would come, disguised, as bait. If Jane wants leverage, she'll try to take you again, Hassan explained. And when she does, we'll be ready. Stephanie hesitated, her hand on the twins' hair. If this works, promise me they'll be safe. They will, Hassan said. I promise. The warehouse smelled of machine oil and dust. Hassan stood by a stack of crates, pretending to scroll through his phone. Stephanie, in a worker's jacket and cap, moved boxes with Musa as if she belonged there. At exactly 3:15 p.m., a black SUV rolled up to the side gate. Jane stepped out, flanked by two men, cap hat and crooked jaw. Her eyes swept the room, and when they landed on Stephanie, her smile bloomed like poison. Well, she said, stepping closer. If it isn't the little ghost. Hassan moved between them. It's over, Jane. Oh, Hassan, she purred. It's just beginning. Hand her over, and I'll let you keep the brats. For now. From the rafters above, hidden cameras streamed everything live to Hassan's legal team and the press. The police were listening too, but Jane didn't know that. You just confessed to kidnapping, Hassan said evenly. And extortion. Jane's eyes flickered, but only for a moment. Then she nodded to her men. Take her, cap hat, and crooked jaw moved, but before they reached Stephanie, Hassan's guards stepped out from behind the crates, guns drawn. The sound of sirens swelled outside. Police vehicles surrounded the warehouse. Officers stormed in, weapons raised. Jane froze as handcuffs clicked around her wrists. You think this ends with me? She spat. You have no idea how deep it goes. The hospitals, the courts, half the people you trust. Save it for the judge, Hassan said. By the next morning, the story was everywhere, news broadcasts, social media, front pages. Billionaire's missing fiancé found after 7 years kidnapping ring exposed. Photos of Jane in handcuffs ran beside images of Hassan carrying Stephanie from Greenway. Hospitals scrambled to explain themselves. The orphanage director was arrested. The Greenway administrator vanished before police could get to him. And in the Abel house, for the first time in years, breakfast was shared without fear. The twins sat beside Stephanie, dipping bread in tea. Hassan watched them, knowing there was still cleanup ahead. Court cases, press storms, more hidden names to uncover. But for now, they were together. Yet somewhere out there, in the quiet shadows Jane hinted at, other hands still moved the strings, and Hassan knew one thing for certain: this fight wasn't truly over.